morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today we need to have a look at the first real batch of official reveals from Surging Sparks. Yeah, I know the other day I did show you the Latios and Latias, which were showed off on their Twitter, the official Twitter, and they were pretty good. But now we've actually had a proper bunch of scans that have gone and been revealed, and I, for one, think these are kind of awesome. And we might as well start off with the fact that they have revealed the biggest card in the set, or is it Lisia's Appeal? And I say or is it because, of course, we know there's a special illustration rare Pikachu coming, and of course, yeah, that one could be quite big. But Lisia's Appeal, this is the special illustration rare version of it, and this one is going to be a very, very, very big deal indeed. If we have a look over in Japan, remember our set, Surging Sparks, is made up of the two Japanese sets, Super Electric Breaker and Paradise Dragona, and Paradise Dragona is out in Japan, has been for a little while, and we can see that Lisia's Appeal, the special illustration rare thereof, is the number one card in the set by a mile, and it's not even that close. Number two, for what it's worth, is the Latias, which we've also already been shown. But make no mistake about it, Lisia's Appeal is a big card, a very good card. It's one that a lot of people are going to want. And, you know, it's Lisia with Altaria. What more do you need? Well, it would be nice if it was playable. Is it? Well, we've got switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon to the active spot. If you do, the new active Pokemon is confused, but you can only gust basic Pokemon. And the thing is, you're going to put this side by side with Boss's Orders, for instance, and Boss's Orders can gust anything. This can only gust a basic, but it also leaves them confused. But a lot of the time, not all the time, admittedly, but a lot of the time you're dragging something active with Boss's Orders to try and get a big KO. So this really is for gusting something active that you're not KOing, because if you want to KO, Boss's Orders is just infinitely better because it can get anything. So this is where you're not trying to just KO. You're trying to drag something active to stall a little bit, and that's when this just becomes honestly incredibly awkward. I'm not saying it's not going to work, but I am saying that a lot of the time, not necessarily all the time, but a lot of the time, we are in a situation where you're only able to get basic Pokemon, and that's actually going to end up being super, super annoying. So, yeah. Sorry about that. I do unfortunately think that is going to end up being the thing that stops this being a super playable card. But even with it not being particularly playable like that, it still ends up being an incredibly good card in terms of value, and it's one that everyone's going to want. Honestly, that's kind of the answer here. So, yeah. A card which I'm convinced is going to see a lot more play, although, honestly, we've kind of already seen it, is the new Magneton. And I say we've already seen it because, of course, we actually saw this card before Japan did, because this was revealed to be our Elite Trainer Box promo, or at least the alternate art Shinji Kanda art was shown to be. So we've actually seen this card before, but it's a ridiculous card, so it's absolutely worth looking at again. The ability Overvolt Discharge says once during your turn, you may attach up to 3 basic energy from your discard pile to your lightning Pokemon in any way you like. And if you do this, Pokemon is knocked out, admittedly. Not ideal, but you get 3 extra energy. And of course, we're in a world nowadays where being behind on prizes is really not that big a deal. Because, of course, if you go behind on prizes, you activate cards like Counter Catcher, for instance. So you can accelerate free energy while then using Counter Catcher to drag something active off the bench that you wouldn't have been able to drag if you hadn't used Magneton, because you wouldn't be behind on prizes. Love Magneton, think it's great, expected to see a whole bunch of play. But it is going to be our Elite Trainer Box promo with the lovely artwork rare by Shinji Kanda, so I'm going to leave that one up to you. Another card that I like very much indeed is Slaking EX. I love Slaking EX. I want this to be good. Now, it is a stage 2, which is a pain, but it's got 340 HP, which is the maximum natural HP we've seen in the game. That is HP when you're not boosted or anything like that. And we've got an ability that says if your opponent has no Pokemon EX or Pokemon V in play, this Pokemon can't attack. And okay, fine, that can actually be a little bit annoying, but look, most of the time, your opponent is going to have a Pokemon EX or V in play, even if it's just a Pokemon that's there as support. But you've got other things you can do. What about the Slaking that came around in Paldea Evolved, does 240? Now, admittedly, that does then go to sleep and you have to flip 2 heads to wake up, so you might need some extra switching options for that, I admit. But you can play other Pokemon. Against single-prize decks, it's much easier to find good, efficient attackers. Against multi-prize decks, that is where Slaking becomes really good. And let's face it, right? Let's say you're a little bit worried and it's a little bit scared of not being able to attack here. Well, Path to the Peak rotated out, so sorry about that. That would have been a great option in the past. It's not anymore. Sorry. But we've got a really good attack here. 2 energy, 280. That's a lot. That is a lot. You do have to discard an energy, but it's 1 energy. Get over it. And there's a couple different ways we can go with this. We can just use double turbo. Now, double turbo does have a big downside, and that is that you do 20 less damage, and 280 is a key number. Things like Pidgeot EX, which sees a lot of play. Your Pokemon V-Star like Lugia. 280 is actually a key number. It's a great one to hit. So bringing it down to 260 with a double turbo can be a pain, but it's a 2 energy attack. It's not that expensive. It's colorless energy. You can use any energy acceleration. You'll be fine. And you know what? I really like Slaking. I get that it's a stage 2 and that's a little bit of a pain. And similarly, I get the fact that you got that ability which could end up being a little bit of a pain. But 340 HP, hitting 280, everyone's playing EXs of some kind or Vs anyway. Yeah, I think there's a lot of potential with this one. One for which there is very little potential is Exeggcute. But of course, this is just a lovely, gorgeous artwork rare. It's done by Yuriko Akase, and it's beautiful. It's the first artwork rare we've been shown from the set, and it's not going to wow anybody in terms of playability. That's not the point. It's just beautiful, and it's gone and been shown off, so you do need to probably go and have a little bit of a look at it. Look at it. It's awesome. Also, I love the way that all the different Exeggcute, they've all got their own personalities going on, and they've all got, they're all enjoying the sports, despite being eggs. Oh, and also, it's got a quite nice attack, Precocious Evolution. You got 30 HP, which is garbage. But if you go first, you can use this attack during your first turn and search for a card that evolves from it and evolve it. So, turn 1, going first, start of a 30 HP Pokemon, and then you can evolve up straight away. I like this. And then, of course, if you go second, your opponent isn't able to attack on their first turn anyway, and you are. So you can use it to evolve up, basically making sure that your opponent will not get a hit on Exeggcute, which I think is rather lovely. And the last card that's gone and been shown off is a new Technical Machine Fluorite. And this is another one of those TMs whereby you attach it to a Pokemon, it gives them a new attack, but it falls off at the end of your turn. And what we've got here is Grass, Water, Psychic, discard all energy from this Pokemon, and heal all damage from each of your Terra Pokemon. And this is a kind of attack that looks really good, and it does look really good. But the reality is, it's just a little bit... Like, on the one hand, you can heal all of your Terra Pokemon, and the Terra Pokemon are awesome, and that's lovely. Kind of. But most of the time, you're not going to have enough Terra Pokemon sitting around waiting to be healed to take advantage of this. And that's a bit of a deal breaker for me, honestly. I'm not saying it's bad, but I am saying that I don't think it's going to work most of the time. And that makes me a little bit sad. Sorry. Great potential. I just think most of the time you're not going to find good enough situations where it's actually going to work. But prove me wrong, ladies and gentlemen. Prove me wrong. So there we go. We got one of the big cards for the set in terms of Lisia's appeal. We got playable cards like Magneton, for instance. And then we got a couple of pretty cards as well. And I really like Slaking. I'm just putting that out there. I think Slaking's awesome. But I want to know what you think. So let me know in the comment section, would you? Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, and all kinds of fun things. And get shoutouts on the channel, like the lovely Evan Parker, who's been a supporter of ours for a while now and is a very lovely person. So shout out to them for the support and the loveliness. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.